The world is full of evil. The 7 deadly sins have cast their calamity upon the world, and it is up to you and your party to vanquish them in this dark fantasy world. You need to avoid falling into sin yourself, not only from combat, but from your actions as well. Can you survive, or will you fall? This is Sin Slayers. Once again, I did receive a free code from the publisher Black Tower Entertainment. While I am grateful, I will not let it deter me from a fair and honest review. Sounds good? Let's begin. Gotta say, reading the description of this game got me really excited for what this game can offer. It's a dark fantasy RPG featuring turn-based combat with various roguelike elements thrown in for good measure. Your ultimate goal is to defeat the 7 deadly sins and, I believe, save the world, or at least something. My apologies, I didn't focus too much on the story, as the gameplay is what really drives this game forward. You start off with a basic party of a knight, priestess, and huntress with your goal to defeat gluttony. As you enter the procedurally generated level, you traverse it grid by grid. Reminds me of many old school RPGs, specifically to the grid-based movement found in the older Might and Magic titles. Certain tiles contain enemies, traps, and other various discoveries, all to help or hinder your progress. Some of these, like when you come across dead bodies or graves, gives you a choice of whether or not to loot it. Typical RPG logic dictates to do so, but it may not always be a wise choice. Enter the sin mechanic, which is the biggest selling point going for it. Performing actions like looting dead bodies or digging up graves will increase your sin meter. Increasing it enough will level it up, providing tougher enemies and opponents to face. This provides a great gameplay and narrative tool, as your heroes have to avoid being succumbed to sin or suffer the consequences. For the combat, it harks back to many old school JRPGs with its turn-based combat. Also got Romancing Saga vibes with adjusting the formations. As you perform basic actions, your characters gain rage, which can be used for more advanced moves. Each enemy that you encounter is also unique, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. For example, some enemies are better at resisting physical attacks but are weak to holy magic, while others are weak to physical attacks but resist all magic. It encourages you to learn more about the threat and react accordingly. My only real gripe with the combat is there is a lot of it, and it can eventually grow repetitive, especially after seeing the same enemies over and over again. While many games with similar combat suffers from this, it could easily be remedied with a bit more enemy variety. As you gain experience, you level up and your stats increase automatically. You can also unlock skill trees with the correct items in your inventory. Each tree usually has a choice of one skill to equip between 2 of them. However, this decision is not permanent, as you can always unequip one for another. Some of these abilities are very useful, while others feel like a hindrance to your character. There are also a nice variety of playable characters and NPCs that you'll come across. While they all provide unique benefits and bonuses, it's disappointing that they all start at level 1, specifically for the playable characters. As a nice courtesy, it would have been cool if they started out at a similar level to yours, so you don't have to grind to have them catch up. However, the companions you find do start out a bit better than your starting party, so at least it attempts to balance itself out this way. In terms of difficulty, it was a bit challenging at first figuring out my party and not really knowing what I was up against. Once I got some decent loot and leveled up, however, the difficulty did peter out a bit. However, it can still be challenging, especially if you don't monitor your sin level and let it go all the way to the highest. There are so many quests in this game. Many of them are worth it, as you can get some really useful items as well as a new companion to use in battle. Because of this, you always feel like you're progressing towards something, even if some of the quests boil down to grind fests. As much fun as I had, however, the game doesn't really evolve much in the later stages. The gameplay loop is established early and never really deviates from it. Sure, the game is still enjoyable and there are a few secrets here and there, but I wish it tried something new to freshen things up. But honestly, none of these flaws take away too much from a very solid and polished title. The graphics are nice, the sin mechanic is great from both a gameplay and a narrative perspective, and the combat is solid. While it does lose a bit of steam towards the end of it, I can still give a solid recommendation. If you enjoy RPGs with roguelike elements, definitely give it a try. As always, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and like this video and share it as much as you can. And as always, this is Pow3rh0use, signing off.